don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing.
Duke Ellington, one of the greatest jazz composers in the 1920s who left an everlasting mark on American music and African American culture. Born Edward Kennedy Ellington on April 29, 1899, Duke was raised by James and Daisy Ellington, a loving middle-class couple in Washington, D.C. As a young boy, Duke was like any other in his generation. His parents, both pianists, tried to get him to take piano lessons, but quickly abandoned the idea and pursued baseball. He was just as typical throughout his teenage years as well. He often snuck out to the local pool hall, and in doing so, he was exposed to the vast African American culture held in the capital. This exposure introduced him to the ideals of the upcoming Harlem Renaissance and got him hooked on the music of the time period, ragtime. This newfound obsession with ragtime introduced him to a man by the name of Harvey Brooks. Harvey acted as Duke's mentor, teaching him the tricks and trades of playing the piano, instantly reeling Duke back into the study of music. He wrote his first composition, Soda Fountain Rag, after this encounter at the age of 14. By age 17, he was a busy man. He was playing the piano at various nightclubs, and while doing so, Duke aired a sense of pride and nobility to his peers, and thus the name Duke stuck.
Duke is a nickname. I was christened Edward Kennedy Ellington, and Duke was a nickname which I got in high school. I had a pal I used to travel around in high school who was a pretty fancy dresser and socially inclined, quite advanced for his age. And I think he felt that if I just had to be his constant companion, I should have a title, because he was a pretty grand guy. So he called me Duke, and it just went along with me, and here it is today. Stuck along with me for a long time.
Not only was he profound in the musical category, but he was at the same time an excellent artist, and even was good enough to win a scholarship. But at that point in his life, he wanted to focus on his musical career, and even dropped out of high school 3 months before graduation to do so.
My talent at that time was acknowledged as being art. I was supposed to be a good painter. I had a lot of talent at that. I won a scholarship in fine art. But by the time I finished high school, I was so deeply involved with music where I had to learn a little bit more music to protect my reputation.
At age 18, Duke wedded his high school sweetheart Edna Thompson and had their one and only son, Mercer Ellington, in 1919. By that time in his life, the African American culture was shifting from D.C. to Harlem, so in 1923, he packed up his things and moved to New York City. In the late 20s, his first group, the Washingtoners, split, and shortly after he divorced Edna and continued his success in music. His success as a musician grew and grew, relating to the times in his pieces as the 20s passed until he and his orchestra wrote 2 songs that really summed up the whole idea and his views on the Harlem Renaissance, Black and Blue and It Don't Mean a Thing. Black and Blue illustrates the racial tension, segregation, and prejudice of the time period. He tells the story of how he does nothing wrong and is still treated poorly because of his skin color.
Cold empty bed, springs hard as lead, feel like golden dead, wished I was dead. What did I do to be so black and blue? Even the mouse ran from my house. They laugh at you, scorn you too. What did I do to be so black and blue? Yes, I'm right inside, but that don't help my case. 'Cause I can't hide what is in my face. But that does I say, how would it end? Ain't got a friend, my only sin. is in my skin. What did I do to be so black and blue?
Lines like, "I'm white inside, but that don't help my case," and "my only sin is in my skin," and later repetitively, "what did I do?" illustrates how African Americans are treated as a lesser group of people and how they felt helpless and guilty at the hands of the white man.
As a whole, have been a wonderful race. The American Negro have been a wonderful race of people who have gone along with the thing as it has been, and very trustingly have come along 100 years now after the Emancipation Proclamation, and of course now their demands are coming more strong. And as it should.
On the brighter side of the Harlem Renaissance, we find the song "It Don't Mean a Thing." This song is all about the swinging 20s, ravishing parties, and the music, swing.
Don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing. It don't mean a thing, all you gotta do is swing. Makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. Just give that rhythm every little thing you've got. It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that swing.
The line, "'cause you give that rhythm every little thing you got," is almost the equivalent of today's club songs talking about getting on the dance floor. He wants people to party and have a great time, which is what the extravagant 20s were about. He also felt strongly about the types of music, or lack thereof. He believed that music is music, meaning no matter the sound or portrayal, if the message and the music is good, then the music is truly good.
It will be boiled down and left without a category, even the category of jazz, because I think it's going to be accepted generally and soon that music is music, and there is not going to be any symphonic music, there's going to be no jazz music, it's just going to be music, and if it sounds good, it's going to be good music, and if it doesn't, it won't be music.